Hi everybody, and welcome back to RipTech Labs. I'm Chris, and in this episode I want to take a look at these two radios from my collection. These are relics from the past. These are aviation radios. They are made specifically for, well, the Lear's got another function and we'll get to that later, but these are made specifically for listening to NDBs or non-directional beacons while flying for navigating to a specific airport. Now, the heck does that mean, right? And how did that work? Well, what an NDB or non-directional beacon is, it's just a radio tower that just spits out a Morse code signal every, I don't remember how many seconds it is. It repeats a Morse code signal with the call sign of the airport, basically. And what you would do with these radios anyway is you'd have your antenna of your airplane plugged into this. The Lear, I believe, also has a similar connection. Yep, external antenna right here. And you would plug your headphones into that or throw on another set of headphones. I don't have the correct headphones for these. It uses... well, that came off there. Yeah. Cool. I don't have the correct headphones for these. It uses high impedance, basic old style, headphones, and I don't have the right ones for that. I'm not going to invest in a set of those just yet. Not till I get to other radios, but that's a different episode. But what happened was the antenna in your airplane, if I understand this correctly, and I'm sure I'm getting some part of this wrong, so please fill in the blanks down in the comments, it was very directional, right? So as long as your airplane is headed straight at the beam or straight at the airport, you would hear that signal the strongest. And if you were heading away from it, it would start to fade. So you're like, oh crap, I'm heading 180 degrees the wrong direction, right? Obviously, the NDB system now is apparently, from just the bare minimum research I did on this, is a whole lot more complicated now. There's actually data involved, and that gets sent out from the tower there that gives you, more information for the instruments in the aircraft. I really don't know how that works. Not a pilot, don't have a clue. I just have these radios because I thought they were cool. I thought this little guy just looked cool. It hasn't done anything but sit on the shelf. And the Lear I got just because it was kind of a cool novelty. Now the problem with these is there's very little information out there. There is a schematic and the actual Sam's photo fact out there for the Motorola here. This guy, this Lear APR-A, is a total mystery. I can't find any useful information other than what's here on radiomuseum.org. It's just this one entry with some pictures from somebody else's collection and the very basic specifications for the radio. There's no schematics out there. I can't find it. If anyone knows how to get some, please let me know. I'd be real interested in actually restoring this radio, at least internally. Your antenna on your aircraft, you would hook that into there. You've got the same different connection. Leave it to Motorola to come up with something completely proprietary, like the quote-unquote Motorola connector for your car antenna is this one of these things, I guess. But you would turn this to the frequency of the beacon that you're looking for. Now this one has, I'm guessing this is California, so Oakland, Sacramento. I don't know what STK and FNO is. Let's see if we can figure that out. There are still beacons out there running, right? I remember when I was still living in Oklahoma, I could turn my shortwave radio down and I could still hear some of them from like Enid, Tulsa. Depending on conditions, you could get further ones, but they were real faint and it was just a repeating signal. Let's see if we can find STK on this. STK does not exist. So yeah, a lot of these have been shut down. This is, I think, a system that doesn't really exist anymore, or it does, but it's really not. Yeah, and there's no FNO either. I don't know what that would have been. FNO would maybe be Fort something. I'm just guessing, because a big use of these was, if I understand correctly, was military, right? And that you didn't have, computerized data systems to get, it was purely a radio, directional finding system. Now, I did find for this Airboy, this advertisement here. I don't think the stuff on the right-hand side has anything to do with it. But beam navigation with a 4-pound portable receiver, and that's our little Airboy here. This is the radio. Receives beacon, weather, and tower. So I'm guessing you could dial these in. There are different weather reporting stations. I know that's a thing now on airband. I forget what it's called, but you can turn your ham radio or your scanner to the local automated weather system. I don't remember. It's got a name, and off the top of my head, I can't remember what it is. But that, you know, that was a thing then. It's a thing now. And I guess this was the Galvin Manufacturing Corporation. So yeah, I don't know if they were made by this Galvin or if they were sold by this Galvin. I don't know. Free brochure on the Motorola Avigator with an A. Another term I don't know. Maybe it was just some marketing term. But, you know, a range of 100 miles. Now, that's in air radio talk. That's not a lot. It's really not. Especially you're up in the air with these towers that are, I mean, here's a radio tower in KR, Germany. And that, you know, it's not small. So why were they that short range? I don't know. Maybe the directionality started to fail out at range like that. I don't know. You know, designed for a typical aircraft antenna. So your antenna would be fixed to the airplane and be somewhat directional. So if you veered off course, it would, your signal would fade and you could steer back into it, I guess. Now I did look up $31. I couldn't find an actual year on this. This story or article, whatever, references 1944 right here. So what I did, plugged in 1945, and this $31 radio, if you were to buy this, like what that cost then, obviously there's a lot of other factors involved, but that's $550 radio. That's not a cheap piece of gear, especially then. That's, of course, radios weren't cheap gear then. They were expensive. They were not something you bought to throw away. They were expensive. I'm trying to think. Well, here's another site where I found some pictures of one in a lot better shape than mine is. I want to take this apart, or at least take it apart and see what's in here, because all this rust is just, and it's actually, there's stuff rolling around in there, and I have not ever opened this up. I bought it because I thought it looked cool and it would be a neat little piece of history, but I've never opened it up. So we're going to do that after I plugged this guy in, and this was, you could run this off of AC power. I don't have the cord out at the moment, but you could run this off of AC power or your A and B batteries. And how you'd hook that up, this has a little flip back on it. I don't have the correct pulls, so let's see if I can zoom in on this at all. There's your tube layout that uses, you know, your typical portable radios would use these 1-volt tubes. I don't know if any, actually, why I say this, I remember when after I bought this radio, I was like, oh crud, I'm never going to be able to fix this with these 1-volt tubes, no schematic. It's all original inside of there, right? So, but I remember plugging it in. I remember it worked on the AM broadcast band, so we'll see if it still does here in a minute. But, you know, there's another gotcha on these old plugs. If set does not operate in 1 minute on direct current, reverse plug in receptacle. So your polarity was important on DC. That's kind of obvious, really, when you think about it. You've only got a positive and negative, and if you plugged it in the wrong way, I'm surprised it like didn't blow up or something, unless there's provision, you know, unless the hardware is just that stout and it just didn't care. I don't know. Installing the batteries. So you've got you've got 1A and 2B batteries, and these are, so it says right here, your A battery was 7.5 volts and your B's were 45 volts. They fit into this, let's go back out, into this space here. Now, if you've ever seen portable radios from this era, you've always got a big cavity here to put your batteries in. Uses these connectors to hook up to them. I don't know how long they lasted. I imagine probably not as long as you really like, as much power as one of these things actually pulls. Let's just look at the inside of this. You know, I'm not gonna, well, because it's screwed in right now, I don't really want to flip it over, because I'd have to desolder these connections here to, I really don't know what that is, if that's a lamp or what that is, because they're soldered in, like goes into the wood here, and I don't know what that is. I don't have a clue, unless it's part of the built-in antenna that I'm assuming is there for the AM radio. Because like I said, I remember plugging this in and I remember hearing signal on it. So let's, on this one, the Lear here, let's take and plug this into the Syncor and turn it up here so we can see what's going on. But like these 1-volt tubes, I haven't looked too much into it, but I know like the Zenith transoceanics use a lot of these 1-volt tubes, and a lot of those are actually pretty scarce from what I understand. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. So let's turn the power down on the single board, turn it on. Power switch is in the volume dial. Let's see if we can turn that down to, stupid handles in the way here. Oh, it's backwards too. That's nice. Yeah, the dial is kind of backwards here. So your low end is on the right and your high end is on the top. Just how they constructed it, I guess. Don't ask me why. But let's turn the volume up. And let's slowly turn this knob up. I know you can't see this. I should have the... I remember this working. It's probably not going to pull a lot of power with these 1-volt tubes, though. Well, maybe it doesn't work. Are we getting any kind of filament? I don't know. Oh, yep, there we go. We got a little glow there on that one. Well, let's keep going here. It might just take a little while to warm up, too. So on AC, yeah, the polarity shouldn't matter. I'm getting kind of that typical. There we go. Just takes a little while to warm up. And this is all original, so if it suddenly does something weird, you've been warned. Well, let's just turn it to there. That's close enough. But yeah.
Boosting your energy and improve.
Yeah. But yeah, the AM side of this still works great. I'm sure the long wave side does too then. So I mean, they built these things to last. I mean, this radio's roughly, 1940, maybe post-war. I really don't know. I can't find any useful information on it. Or if it's any better than the Firestone. Oh. Now see, that's interesting. This is a better receiver than that Firestone. Because here I'm picking up one on the other side. Go figure. Huh. That's crazy. So I can only pick up those two stations. Two stations, I guess.
Common issue for most homeowners. Partly you can help.
But yeah, the AM side of this works just fine. Now I'm not even going to try to pick up beacons on this because, number one, I don't have a decent antenna to plug into this. I don't have the location. It's middle of the day here. It's going to be terrible for that. But like I said, it's just a Morse code signal pumping out the call letters of the airport. And that's it. So yeah, this thing works fine still. I'm going to leave it alone. I don't have much use for it. It's kind of nice to look at. What's written on the magnet here? Huh. So this has apparently been worked on before. I didn't notice this when I first had it apart in the past. But yeah, there's actually, what does that say? 400R A of H. And then on the other side is A of H 1500 kilocycles. Oh, that's 400 kilocycles. Okay. That's a K, believe it or not. Yeah. So this thing still works. Like I said, I'm assuming that. So we'll just shut that off. Here again, you refer to the instruction manual for complete installation and operating information. Where's that at? It's lost time, I guess. I find that so hard to believe that nobody nowhere has a copy of the data on this. It just blows my mind, right? That it's just gone forever. So let's get the Lear out of the way here. Now, like I said, I've never had the Airboy opened up. And here's another little fact I found. Let me see if I can load that up. There's actually, a Sam's photo fact for this radio, which is kind of nice. Honestly, the Sam's photo fact are amazing little documents if you can get them. So, okay, here's where the Galvin comes from. I didn't even notice this a minute ago when I was looking at this. It's a Motorola brand name, but it was actually manufactured by this Galvin Manufacturing in Chicago. So, okay, that explains a lot. But, go to the next page. Yeah, see, I downloaded this Friday, September 10, 2021. So I've had this radio a few years. Not nearly as long as the Lear, but got a parts list. This is why I love these Sam's photo facts so much, is it actually has a proper illustration of what each part in the radio is. So if you're confused on where's this part, you can find it, and it's got a really complete parts list. All the photo facts do. And here's the underside of it. Removing chassis from housing. We might need that in a minute. If this thing even opens up, this rust might make that a little tricky. Then your schematic, it's a basic 4-tube. Yeah, 4-tube radio. That doesn't even, well, because it's DC only, it doesn't need a rectifier tube. So, but that's a 3-volt tube. What does it say? Did it say what batteries this used? I think it did. Power supply, 1.5 volt. Oh, look at that. 1.5 volt battery, 2 flashlight cells, so 2 D cells and 1 single B battery. Nice. I'm guessing they're D cells. They might be C cells. I don't think double A's were a thing back then. Single A's were. That's the, I think, the big, or yeah, we just went over that with the Lear. What else we got here? There's one schematic. Here's another one. Now this one's from, is this from Riders or Biteman's? I don't remember. Does not say. Yeah, I want to say that's Riders. But there again, it's basically the same drawing, right? And then this one, alignment procedure, I think from Riders again. So, I mean, but yeah, let's see if we can crack into this guy and see what we have. I'm not going to use the power screwdriver. I'm just thinking that's going to immediately strip these out. They are Phillips head, which, or at least cross head. Yeah, correct me. Oh, it is going to turn out. If it is, it's not working. Let's see. If all else fails, let's read the manual, huh? Didn't it say removing the chassis, unlatch back cover and remove? Okay, yeah, sure, unlatch back cover. So I guess this is the latch for the back cover. I guess we'll see what we can do. So that's gotta come. That button does not want to move. Oh, wow. Well, let's try the persuader this way. I don't know. Maybe it goes in the other direction. I don't know. Let's see. Now that's just a little button to, I guess, pry with is what that is. So I'm guessing you got to have that switch that little slider in the down position. Oh, wow. Oh yeah, it's actually, looks like maybe it's hinged on the bottom, so this might require a little effort here. Oh, there we go. There's one side. There's the other side. Sweet. Like I said, I've never had this guy apart. I don't know. Haha. Oh, we got information in here. What do we got? We got basically the same schematic that we just looked at, your obligatory patent notices, and your tube layout. So, okay, to replace tubes, first remove screws A, B, C, and D. So you got to take the whole chassis out, replace what tubes are in there. Yeah, I wonder if this thing's been underwater at some point, because, ew. 1.5 flashlight, or equivalent. What does that say? Does it say? It just says 95. Is that a J? 95. It looks like it says 95J. What the heck is a J battery? I got all excited because this other J battery, this guy here, I was like, you can't be serious, because this is what I have in the remote control for my 27-inch Zenith console, big CRT. What do we have inside? So here's our inside. Yeah, well, it's just rust. So it's had water in it. At some point, I would be very hesitant to even try to get this running. But there's not much there. Zoiks. At least there's no batteries in it. That would have been a little bit. So here you've got your pull-out straps. That was the thing. What does it say on here? I'm wrong way. Haha. 1.5 mini wax. Okay, so your big, was it A or B? So your big battery went on this side, and then this side, Yeah, there's actually, I think, pieces missed. No, there's not. Oh God. So these would have been just D-cell batteries. Yeah, they're that size. I don't think I have one sitting here, do I? Guarantee. Yeah, guaranteed for what? But yeah, that's perfect. That's the size right there. So that would have been what went in that space. I'm sure those leaked like nothing else. Yeah, I don't even want to try, with all this rust, I don't even want to try to take the rest of this out of here. But yeah, all 4 of those little miniature tubes are crammed in there. Your tuning gang right here. Yeah, I bent that bracket trying to pry that knob off. That's not coming out peacefully. I'm not going to force it. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. It's a little piece of history that not many people will have sitting around. In several more years, you can get those. I wonder if there should have been like little... Oh, wait, no, that's just hooked into... Okay. It hooked into these little slots here like so. Oh, man, the rust. Yeah, there's no way this is getting repaired. And then push that back on. So, I'll just leave that there. And that's what these guys were for. That's all the way down. We'll screw the power switch back on. And let's put that back on. So I didn't even need to take those screws out. But yeah, this one is definitely battery only. Close enough. But these early days of aviation like this, it's really surprising how primitive it was when you consider what we have now and the information that gets sent. Like I said, 100-mile range, that's just insane to me. In aviation distance, that's nothing. And like I said, I don't know if these were used in the military. I'm sure they use these in training or something for teaching, navigation. If you couldn't see, you could probably dial in a tower. Oh, okay, and just follow that close. And if you started, but I'm sure if you got close, you could start hearing the tower frequencies and talk to them. On what? I don't know. This is just a receiver. I don't know. Anyway, I just think they're cool. I figured I'd dust them off the shelf and have a look at them on camera here. If you think they're cool, give this video a like, maybe subscribe. And with that, I guess I'll see you in the next one. You're awesome if you're still here. Bye.